Hello everyone, welcome to week 13. Today we are going to focus on the Pacino and Warren chapter 7, which explore how educators can establish and maintain the socially just partnership among the school, family, and the community. This chapter emphasizes not just cooperation, but equity, inclusion, and the shared responsibility for student success. As a future educator, that is very critical because student learning does not happen in isolation. It is deeply connected to the family and the community. Let's begin by clarifying what we mean by socially just partnership. This chapter emphasizes that family engagement is not just about school reaching out to the parent. Instead, it is about shared responsibility among school, family, and the community. A socially just partnership is built on open and rational communication, mutual respect, and active partnership from the family in the decision making. In the other words, families are not just invited, they are empowered. This also means that teaching practices and the curriculum need to be inclusive and culturally responsive, so all the students and the family feel represented and valued. So overall, we are shifting from traditional model of the parent involvement to a more equitable model that includes shared power, second, share voice. Third, and we need to share accountability. This is a major mindset shift for the educator. Three narratives show partnership in practice. Now, this slide is really important because he shows us how socially just partnership actually work in real life, in the real classroom. Up to this point, we have talked about principal things like equity, shared responsibility, and the family engagement. But this chapter moves beyond theory and gives us three real examples. Let's show what is he look like in practice across different settings. Let's walk through each one together. The first one, the narrative one, preschool and university research cooperative. In the first example, we see a partnership between a preschool and a university. This cooperation focus on a full inclusive preschool program, meaning children with and without disability were learning together in the same environment. The university worked closer with the school by supporting research and the data collection, providing professional knowledge and expertise, cooperating with the teacher and staff. What's really important here is that this partnership didn't benefit students. It also helped build the teacher leadership and the professional capacity. Over time, teachers became more comfortable, more skilled, and more capable of sustaining the program on their own. So this example shows us that partnership can support both student outcome and the teacher development at the same time. Now, let's look at the second example, the Latinx district and the private university gate partnership. The second example takes place in a predominantly Latinx community and involve a partnership with a school district and a private university. This program focuses on the student in a gifted and talented program, also known as GATE, G-A-T-E, and aim to provide them with a college-going experiences. What made this partnership powerful is that it explores the student and the family to university life, help the family understanding college pathway, encourage the long-term educational goal. Family were not just observers, they were actively engaged. They are attending the meeting, receive the information, and became part of the process. Another key idea is reciprocal benefit. This means both sides benefit. Students gain opportunity and exposure, the university gain the research opportunity and the community engagement. Family gain the knowledge and the access. This is what socially just a partnership looks like. Everyone is valued and everyone benefits. The third narrative, school, university, and the public library literacy partnership. The third example extends even further by including a public library as a key partner. This partnership focuses on the literacy, development, and the community support, especially in the bilingual and the diverse community. The library provided literacy programs for children and the family, bilingual services, tutoring and the homework support, access to the technology like computer and the internet. Now think about this. Many families may not have access to these resources at home, so the library becomes a community hub, a place where the family can learn together, access resources, feel welcome and supported. This example shows that partnerships don't have to be limited to school and family. We can include community organization to better support students. In here, big takeaway, it is very important. So across these three different narratives, even though the settings are different, we see some common themes here. The first one, partnerships are cooperative, not one-sided. They are actually responsive. They are culturally responsive and inclusive. They focus on the equity and the asset, and they are creating the shared responsibility for student success. As a future educator, that is something to really think about. Try to think about who are your potential partners. How can you build the connection beyond your classroom? Because strong partnership can truly transfer student learning experience. Now, let's take a closer look at our first case study. This example focuses on the full inclusive preschool partnership working in the partner with a university. What's really important here is that this partnership started at a research cooperation, but over time, he evolved into something much bigger. He became a leadership and a program improvement partnership. So, this is a great example of how partnership can grow and become more impactful over time. How it works? Let's first look at how this partnership actually works in practice. In year 1, the focus was on the understanding student outcome. The team used both quantitative and the qualitative data. Okay, so the first one about the quantitative data. For example, like assessment and the measurable progress. For the qualitative data, the researcher used observation, interview, and the feedback. That is important because he gave a full picture of the children's development, especially in an inclusive classroom with the children with and without disability, and he wasn't just researcher working alone. All the teacher, staff, and the family were actively involved in this study. They participate in interview, focus group, and cooperative discussion. This shows us that the partnership was already inclusive and participatory, not top-down. Then in the year 2, the focus shifted. Instead of just starting the program, they began building capacity, which means strengthening the people and the system. This including refining the program, their mission, providing the leadership training, engaging in the team planning, so the partnership moved from the researcher to improving the program. The second part, what made it work? Now let's talk about why this partnership was successful. There are 3 key elements here. The first one, first, reciprocity and trust. This means both the preschool and the university respected each other and continue equity. It wasn't one side controlling the process. This was a true partnership. Second, share the vision and share the decision making. Everyone involved agree on the goal and work together to make decisions. This is critical because without a shared vision, partnership can easily fall apart. Third, a strong commitment to the equity, diversity, respect. This is what makes the partnership socially just. They were not just improving instruction, they were ensuring that all children, especially those with a disability, were included and supported. Part 3, what changed? Now let's look at the impact. What actually changed as a result of this partnership? First, the most important outcome. Children with and without disability show meaningful academic and social emotional growth. This tells us that inclusive education, when done well, benefits all children. Second, the program is extending significantly. It started small, just one side with a full classroom, and then grew into 2 slides with 9 classrooms. This shows that the success of the partnership led to the scaling out the program. Third, we see the growth in the multiple areas. Staff leadership improved, family involvement increased, district support became stronger. So the impact was not just at the student level, it affected the entire system. The big takeaway from the first case. So what can we learn from this case? The example shows that strong partnership start with cooperation, build trust over time, focus on shared goal together, and lead to long-term improvement. Most importantly, he reminds us that partnerships are not just about helping students. They are about building sustainable systems that support equity and inclusion. Now, let's move to our second case study. This example focusing on the partnership between a Latinx school district and a private university, especially through the GATE program, GAT, Gifted and Talented Education. What made this case especially powerful is that he's addressing college access and equity, particularly for the student and the family who may not traditionally see college as accessible. Now, let's start with the purpose of this partnership. The first goal was to give Latino students and their family the right experience on university campus. Let's talk about why this matters. For many families, college can feel distant, unfamiliar. So bring the student and the family onto campus help make college feel real, possible, and achievable. The second purpose was to strengthen participatory citizenship in a diverse democracy. This means helping students and the family feel empowered and participate in a society, make informed decisions, and see themselves as a part of the longer educational system. Part 2, share role and resources. One of the most important things of this partnership is how responsibilities are shared. This is not a one-slide effort. Both of school district and the university contribute in a meaningful way. The second one I want to talk about the school district provide staff. So the school staff, they will help to run this program and also curriculum, transportation, and the school also provide lunch for the student, and they will select the student selection. Meanwhile, the university provide campus space, professor to teach the program, tuition support, textbook, and additional service. So you can see this is a true partnership where both sides bring the resources to support the student. The key factor is a family involvement. Family participate in a meeting that focus on understanding gifted learner, planning for the college, learning about financial aid. This is very important because families are not left out. They are actively included and supported. Part 3, outcome. Let's look at the outcome. What actually happened as a result of this partnership? First, there was a clear increase in student interest in college attendance, and the college application over time. So this partnership didn't just inspire the student, it led to the real, measurable change. Second, scholarship for the local district. Student increase, which helped reduce the financial barrier. Even more interesting, some parents later registered in the college, in the university themselves. This shows that the impact of the partnership extends beyond the student to the entire family. Finally, the partnership remains strong over time because culturally sensitive communication, the trust between the partners, and the clear role and responsibility. This factor helps sustain the cooperation and ensure his long-term success. Big takeaway from our second case study. So, what can we learn from this case? This example shows that socially just partnership break down the barrier to the higher education, empower both student and family, and create opportunity across generations. He also highlights the importance of shared responsibility, cultural responsiveness, and mutual benefit. This is not just about helping students succeed, it's about creating assets and equity in education. Now let's look at our third and the final case study. This example extends the idea of the partnership even further by including not just school and the university, but also a public library. In this case, the library becomes an actual hub, a central place where the family can access important resources like literacy support, tutoring, bilingual program, and the technology. This shows us that learning does not only happen in the classroom, it happens across the community. Part 1. Why this matters? Let's first talk about why this partnership is so important. The chapter emphasizes that literacy is both a human right and a social justice issue. This means access to the reading, writing, and learning opportunity should be available to everyone, not just some students. Libraries play a critical role in this because they help bridge educational and the digital inequity, especially for multiple linguistic family, low-income community, students who may not have access to the resources at home. Another important point is how families use library. They don't just go there for books, they also go for a safe and a welcoming environment, a sense of belonging, access to the important resources, so the library becomes more than a building. It becomes a community support system. Part 2. Program named in the chapter. So let's look at some of the actual program offered through this partnership. These programs are very practical and directly support family needs. After-school tutoring in English and mathematics help students succeed academically. Citizenship Club, ESL program, and the Spanish literacy program support family and the multilingual learner. Technology instruction and the Chromebook checkout address the digital divide. Summer reading program, STEAM activity, and the Lunch at the Library program support both learning and the basic need. What's important here is that these programs are not random. They are designed based on what family actually need. This is what socially just partnership look like, connecting the service directly to the real-life challenge. In this case, the big takeaway, think about, so what is the big takeaway from this case study? Socially just a partnership are concrete and action-oriented. They connect learning to the real family needs, such as homework support, college preparation, food access, citizenship support, digital inclusion. This means equity is not just something we talk about. It is something we build through programs and the resources. And in this case, the library plays a powerful role in making that happen. As a visual educator, This example encourages us to think beyond our classroom. Who are the community partners around you? How can you connect the family to the resources that support their life? Because we are extend our partnership, we extend our opportunity for our students. Now we have reached the synthesis of this chapter, where everything comes together. The key message here is that socially just partnerships are not abstract ideas, they are real, visible, and actionable. So this slide answers the big question: what does culturally just partnership actually look like in practice? Now, let's look at the left slide first. What socially just partnership mean in practice? First, he means seeing family as a knowledge holder and the decision maker. Family are not passive, they are bringing the important cultural knowledge and lived experiences. Second, he means designing support around assets, not deficits. Instead of asking, what do family lack? We can ask ourselves, what can we do more to help the family? Third, he involved building reciprocal relationships across institutions. This means school, family, university, and the community organizations are all contribute and benefit. Four, he requires multilingual and the cultural responsive access point. This ensures that all families, regardless of the language or background, can participate fully. Finally, he means connecting equity to real programs and resources. Equity is not just a concept. It must be reflected in tutoring programs, literacy survey, college access opportunity, technology access, so equity becomes something tangible and visible. Now let's move to the implication. Why all this matter in education? First, the student mindset improves when students feel a sense of belonging and have access to the real opportunity like tutoring or college program. They begin to believe in their own potential. Second, teacher expectation rise. When teachers cooperate with the family and the community, they start making assumptions and begin to see students' full capability. Third, this approach challenges deficit thinking. Instead of viewing the family as a problem, educators need to begin to see them as a partner with a valuable expertise. Finally, shared responsibility becomes the foundation. Student success is no longer just a teacher's job. It is shared among school, family, university, library, and community organization. This creates a strong, more supportive system for students. So, the biggest takeaway from this chapter is that socially just partnerships are about turning value into action. They are built on respect, equity, cooperation, and shared responsibility. And when done well, they don't just support the student, they transform entire community. Now we are moving into our final part for this week, your discussion board. That is your opportunity to take everything we have learned from the chapter 7 and apply it to your thinking as a future educator. I really want you to move beyond just summarizing the chapter and start thinking critically and practically. The main question you will respond to is, what does a socially just family, school, community partnership look like in practice? So when you answer this question, I want you to think about real classroom, real family, and the real community. What would this actually look like? Not just in the theory, but in everyday teaching. To help guide your thinking, please make sure you respond addressing this key idea. First, student mindset. How do these partnerships help the student feel a sense of belonging, confidence, and the motivation to learn? Second, teacher expectation. How might working with a family and the community change the way teachers view and support their students? Third, challenge deficit thinking. This is very important. Instead of seeing the family as lacking something, how can we recognize their strength and contribution? And finally, share responsibility. How do school, family, and the community work together to support student success? As you write your post, I encourage you to use examples from the chapter, connecting your own experiences our future teaching goal. Be thoughtful and reflective. This is not just about getting the right answer. It is about developing your understanding as an educator.